ای حافظ شیرازی، تو محرم هر رازی، بر ما نظر اندازی. تو را به شاخ نباتت قسم می دهم، هر چه صلاح و مصلحت می بینی برایم آشکار ساز. Imagine a medieval poet whose words are so powerful and revered that even till this day they are recited and used to predict the future. I'm talking about Hafez, a poet whose importance for Persian literature cannot be overstated. Hafez, along with Sa'di, Ferdowsi, and Rumi, is considered one of the four pillars of Persian poetry and literature. Hafez is recognized as one of the most influential poets who ever wrote in Persian. Even today, in Iran's official calendar, there is a day, the 20th of May, that is designated as Hafez Day. Each year on this day, a commemoration ceremony is held at his tomb in Shiraz, attended by scholars from around the world. Hafez's poetry weaves together themes of love, mysticism, and the human condition, creating a timeless tapestry of verse. His divan, or collection of poetry, has remained a special source of guidance and inspiration for Persians throughout the ages. In this video, we will discover the life, poetry, and enduring influence of Hafez, known as Lisanul Ghaib, or the voice of the unseen. Khaja Shamsuddin Muhammad Hafez Shirazi is simply referred to as Hafez. The word Hafez is an Arabic word derived from the root Hafeza, meaning to preserve. So Hafez means the preserver of the Quran, that is, the one who has memorized it. Hafez was born in 1325 in Shiraz, which at that time was the capital of Fars, itself a province of Persia. It was during the Islamic period that Shiraz became an important capital city. This city flourished and became associated with Persian poetry, due in great part to the 13th century poet Sa'di. At this time, Shiraz was spared from the devastating destruction of the Mongols and became a refuge. The rulers, the Atabeks of Fars, also known as the Seljukids, managed to keep Fars safe through peace agreements with the Mongols. By the 14th century and the birth of Hafez, two families would become particularly relevant to the history of Shiraz: the Injus and the Muzaffarids. The Inju rulers Masud Shah and especially his younger brother Abu Ishaq were considered just rulers. Abu Ishaq was eventually overthrown, however, by the Muzaffarid warlord Mubarezuddin. Mubarezuddin was a cruel and extremely rigid religious ruler. The bloodshed that he brought to the city continued until the king's own son, Shah Shuja, could tolerate no more destruction and had his father blinded and imprisoned. Shah Shuja revived the city and brought back its culture of poetry and music that his father had suppressed. Hafez spent his life in Shiraz, a city he deeply loved and frequently mentioned in his poetry. At that time, Shiraz was a small but lively and diverse city. It had a mix of languages and religions, with people speaking Persian, Turkish, Arabic, and practicing Islam, Judaism, Christianity, and Zoroastrianism. The city was wealthy, partly because it was a trading center with a bustling bazaar, and partly because it had avoided the destruction of the Mongol conquest that was outside its walls. This wealth supported a rich court life. Shiraz was also known for its clean air, beautiful gardens, and scenic surroundings, inspiring many poets to praise its natural charm. Hafez's poems often reference his favorite places in Shiraz, such as the Golgasht Musalla, a beautiful garden. Interestingly, Hafez's tomb is now located in this place. This Musalla was a pleasant place in Shiraz where people held their congregational prayers and religious gatherings. Gradually, people began to bury their loved ones in this place for blessings, turning it into a cemetery. Hafez's work shows his extensive knowledge of Arabic, Islamic sciences, earlier Persian literature, and music. In his youth, he worked as an apprentice to a baker and copied manuscripts. He learned to read and write at a local school and attended classes on various subjects. He was dedicated to Quranic studies and other scholarly pursuits, such as composing commentarial works. Hafez's poetry reflects his extensive education, mentioning his presence in schools for many years and his memorization of the Quran in various recitations. His nom de plume or pen name Hafez, or the Preserver, and such titles as the King of Reciters indicate his mastery in these areas. Hafez's poems, often ambiguous and metaphorical, contain some references to his family. It is inferred from his poetry that his wife or beloved, possibly named Shakh-e-Nabat, died in midlife. The word Shakh-e-Nabat translates to sugar candy in English. It refers to the crystallized branches of sugar that form in a container of syrup. These branches are often used as a sweet treat or decoration. Shakh-e-Nabat is repeated frequently in Hafez's poetry. Some say that's not the name of a specific person, but rather a metonymy of any sweet beloved. Based on his verses, some also say that he had only one son that died at his early age. Hafez wrote a poem that indirectly talks about the grief he felt at the loss of his son. Hafez's poetry emphasizes love and mysticism. His work often reflects the sorrow of separation from the beloved, symbolizing God, and focuses on inner spiritual matters rather than material concerns. Like much of Persian poetry, the blend of love and mysticism allows for various readings of his multi-layered and nuanced verses. During this period, romantic and mystical ghazals were influenced by poets like Sa'di, Rumi, and Iraqi, combining mystical thought with the delicate language of lyrical poetry. Hafez's poetry also shows the influence of the Quran, evident in both the form and content of his work. The structure of his poetry, particularly the independence of verses, mirrors the chapters and verses of the Quran, allowing him to express a wide range of themes within a single ghazal. Hafez's poetry incorporates Quranic concepts through translation, quotation, and allusion, making his work distinct and impactful for a Muslim audience. The Divan of Hafez is a compilation of all the surviving poems by Hafez. While most of these poems are in Persian, the collection also includes bilingual poems in Persian and Arabic, and one ghazal entirely in Arabic. The ghazals form the most significant part of this collection. Additionally, the Divan contains poems in other poetic forms such as qit'e, fragments, qaside, odes, masnavi, rhymed couplets, and rubai, quatrains. The total number of ghazals that are widely accepted is nearly 500. Hafez's poems have significantly influenced Iranian thought and culture, maintaining their relevance and popularity across generations. His work continues to inspire various art forms, including pottery, painting, and calligraphy. This value goes beyond Iran, as the Divan of Hafez has been widely copied and published, perhaps more than any other Persian book, with translations available in many languages. This widespread distribution highlights the global appeal and the profound impact of Hafez's poetry. In Hafez's Divan, there are many difficult words and meanings, each playing a crucial and significant role in conveying and expressing deep messages and thoughts. Here are some examples. The word rand appears frequently in Hafez's Divan and can be considered a key term. Generally, rand refers to someone who is unconcerned with social norms and customs, someone who, regardless of the environment, makes the most of life's fleeting moments. In the dictionary, rand means cunning and clever, but in Hafez's poetry, it has a broader meaning. Contrary to its common and contemporary meaning, rand refers to a free-thinking person. In Hafez's language, This meaning is often expanded to refer to individuals who do not adhere to dogmatic beliefs and have grasped a deeper understanding of religion that is superior to the common understanding. They consider obligatory rules and laws necessary for the social order, but on a metaphysical level, they are not bound by religious limitations. The religion of the Rand, as can be inferred from the definition of Rand, signifies the ethical approach of the free and self-sufficient, among whom are the mystics and Sufis. Another important word is harabat. In Hafez's poetry, harabat usually refers to a place for the morally corrupt and those cast out from society. Literally, it is a tavern, gambling house, or a place for immoral women. Some scholars consider harabat to be the plural of harabe, meaning tavern and brothel, with a metaphorical sense of a place for spiritual joy for men of truth. Harabat is described as a metaphor for the destruction and transformation of blind customs, ego, self-conceit, and outward concerns into the ethics of love and spiritual intoxication. Related to this is the word meye-ishq, wine of love, or mystical wine. This refers to a state that liberates the seeker from worldly attachments, which are seen as obstacles on the spiritual path, and prepares them for the journey towards God. To describe the indescribable state of ecstasy, love, intoxication, and detachment from the material universe, and immersion in the love of the beloved, a symbol or expression was needed. These spiritual states, in their abstract form, cannot be described or understood without a tangible and sensory analogy, since this state and its effects resemble the intoxication and effects of consuming wine. Intoxication was chosen to represent this state of spiritual ecstasy, fervor, and mystical joy. In mystical terminology, the saqi, or the one who serves wine, symbolizes the creator who bestows the wine of love and affection upon his lovers, causing them to become absorbed and annihilated in him. Another word is Pir-e-Mogan. Literally, this refers to a high priest in the Zoroastrian religion. In Hafez's poetry, however, Pir-e-Mogan symbolizes a spiritual guide or an ideal, perfect human being. This figure doesn't have a physical existence, but represents an inner voice or ideal concept that guides you. The Pir-e-Mogan guides the mystic through the mysteries of creation and serves as his spiritual leader and compassionate advisor in life's challenges. More broadly, it represents any force that purifies the mystic's heart, leading him towards love and spiritual intoxication. This term highlights the unique Persian mysticism in Hafez's work. One of the most interesting and enduring traditions surrounding the Divan Hafez is the Fal, or tradition of divination and fortune-telling. Hafez is called upon, and his divan is used to predict the future, resolve doubts, determine the outcome of actions, or inquire about a person's condition. Persians have long believed in interpreting omens from various events and objects. Istikhara, or consulting the Quran for omens, became a common method after the advent of Islam. This practice extended to other literary works believed to contain divine words. After Hafez's emergence, his divan became the primary source for divination, replacing other poets' works. Over time, Hafez's personality and poetry gained sanctity, and his divan is often found alongside the Quran. Hafez's title, Lisan al-Ghaib, the voice of the unseen, led people to use his divan for divination even during his lifetime, developing a true belief in him and his poems. Even today, most Iranian households have a copy of his divan. Divination using the divan of Hafez is common during Nowruz, Shab-e Yalda, and other significant occasions. It is often performed when someone has a specific intention, such as the separation from a loved one, waiting for someone's arrival, facing a problem, or feeling overwhelmed by sorrow. The ritual involves making an intention and invoking Hafez, asking him to reveal what is best and most beneficial. Hafez passed away in 1390. His tomb, located in the Hafeziyeh area of Shiraz, is a major tourist attraction. Visiting his tomb is considered a pilgrimage, reflecting his revered status among Iranians. Devotees often perform ritualistic acts at his tomb, such as ablution and removing their shoes, signifying respect and sanctity. The site also hosts poetry readings and concerts.